What's so funny?
We're ready to go. You ready?
I'm ready when you are.
All right, here we go.
What's up, partner?
Hey, Tommy Weber, how you doing, man? Hey,
I'm
everybody.
doing great.
You doing fantastic? Hey, everybody. Welcome to the first ever Pro Prep Baseball live feed. Yeah, that's what it's going to be like. It's going to be a lot of
God.
fun.
Oh
We're
boy.
going to have some fun here. That's pretty much what I'm saying. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. We don't have anybody on yet, but hopefully you guys will join. And if you do, please comment, ask questions. We're here. We're going to be talking baseball for the next half hour. I'm Ken Arnold, and
I'm Tommy Weber.
that's right. I love this. This is amazing. I'm trying to operate this computer. I got all kinds of plates spinning and everything
This
right
is
now.
30 years in the making.
It is 30 years in the making. I didn't think we'd ever get here, but here we are.
No, I certainly did. When you showed up, some skinny, tall kid at Bill Willits Field, I didn't think we'd ever get to this point, but I'm really happy we are. And it's pretty cool, I must say. I do have a question, though. I have
Yes,
a
go
question.
ahead.
Let me
Go
start
ahead.
out with the first question.
All right,
So I
go
was
ahead.
thinking a lot about this on the ride down, and I thought to myself, exactly how are we going to arrange that we alienate just about everybody? Are we going to go person by person, or are we going to start maybe by region? Because we could start in New England and then work our way west, south,
We
like
can.
Manifest Destiny, like Lewis and Clark, and
Yes.
just basically take care of the whole country in about 2 or 3 shows.
I think so. I think we can. Yeah, the only part of the country I probably couldn't hit is like the Pacific Northwest. I really didn't get out there too much. I don't know too many people out there.
But I'm sure we could do damage there as well. I'm sure this endeavor is going to leave me with fewer friends than I began. I just
Abs-
have a feeling.
Absolutely. Oh man. So, Tommy, thanks for joining me. Like you said, this has been a long time coming. Actually, I set this site up about 4 or 5 years ago, and really hadn't had the time to put any. And then the technology caught up with the live feeds and everything, which makes
Yep.
it a little bit easier to
Yep.
shoot videos and get stuff done. So finally, we're here. We're talking baseball. We talk about baseball all the time when we see each other. So, this is just an extension of our normal conversations, if you ask me.
Yes, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Social media is amazing, isn't it? Technology now enables us to have a conversation with the world about whatever topic we want. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's not. But in our case, I think it's great. You get a lot of different opinions, you get a lot of different input, and hopefully, everyone will take this in the spirit in which it's intended. This is going to be fun, all right? You have the option to listen or not listen. If you get offended, just do something else with your time. It's really cool. We're okay with that.
Do something else with your time.
I don't want some shut-in telling me about how I offended him by saying.
Uh-oh, I lost you. I lost Tommy Weber. Let me bring him back. Whew, that was weird. All right, well, we'll get right back to Tommy Weber. Just give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching at home. All right, let's disconnect and reconnect to previous session. I don't know. We're gonna be trying to get Tommy Weber back on right here, right now. As soon as he gets back on, we'll get to it. Let's see here. If I can't add him, let me disconnect and reconnect. It's all right, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching at home, I'm Ken Arnold. We're testing this out for the first time tonight and hoping that we can make this thing happen. We just lost Tommy Weber. We're trying to reconnect him. And I'm going to send him the link again right here. See if he doesn't join and get him back on. So if anybody out there today saw the Little League World Series, send us some comments about that, because the team from Hawaii won. They beat South Korea 3-0. It was an excellent game. Pitching stood out. We had the leadoff home run from the one kid who was 6'1". That's amazing. But hey, there it is. There's Andy Diorio. Hey, guess what, Weber? Andy Diorio's on and he's asking questions. Yeah, you're shy. But it's great. So he just commented and said, Weber's big head can't fit in the screen. Make it bigger.
I knew he'd be no warming up in the bullpen. He'd go right to the head jokes. Very good. Well, I have one comment. Here's my response to Diorio.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can't do anything about the size of my head. Right?
Yes.
He can do something about his low IQ. Okay? There.
Yes. Yes,
First
that is
shot
true.
Fired. First shot fired.
Yeah, he added that comment, and then, you know what's going on? The comments are coming up, and then the comments are disappearing. Here's what I got to do, all right? This is what has to happen. I'm going to come in here, boom, always show the messages, and then I'm going to launch this again. Yep. We got to work the kinks out, Webbs. That's all.
Good.
That's all. Good. We got to work the kinks out. But we should have comments now coming in. Let me see. This is a test. Boom. Let's see what happens. See if it pops up. Yep, there it goes. We should be seeing it any second. All right, Andy Diorio. Do we just need to go right after Andy Diorio? Is that what we need to do right now?
I mean, it's so easy. That's kind of low-hanging fruit to go after him.
Yes.
He's just so vulnerable.
Yes.
Given all that we know about him. See, that's the guy who doesn't realize we know a lot about him, and we know him for a long time.
Yeah.
So he should pick his spots. To go right to the head jokes, I think, is ill-advised. Ill-advised.
It is ill-advised. But, yeah, I am pretty psyched about this new venture we got going here, Webbs. We're going to talk about a lot of cool things. Did you happen to see the Little League World Series today by any chance?
I saw clips of it. I've been keeping tabs on the Little League World Series. Team from Staten Island is in Mid-Island Little League. And everybody on Staten Island was very interested to see how they made out. They got eliminated in the semifinals. It was a great run. And so, yes, I did catch parts of it today.
Yeah. So Andy's asking if he can call in with questions. And I'll tell you what, Andy, yes, what we'll do is on the next one, we'll actually send you a link, and you can use your cell phone to actually come on in the video chat with us. So we can make a little box for you and see if your head fits in the box.
His head will fit because there's nothing inside of it.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Very nice.
But we love Andy. See, Andy can take it. He can take it. We love him.
Yes, he can. He can, which is fantastic. So, I mean, that's what it's all about. Can you take it? I don't know. But if you can't take it, this is the wrong place for you.
Yeah, this is a bad spot for you. If you're sensitive, this might not be your thing.
All right. So
I like the Little League World Series. I get it. It might be getting a little too big for me, a little too marketed, if you will. And I do think it's ironic that a guy like Rob Manfred, who has taken baseball away from young people by scheduling World Series games at 10 o'clock at night, it's the second inning, so no kid could possibly watch those games, is taking this opportunity to exploit the shit out of the Little League World Series.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it seems like. I'm watching these games. I'm watching these kids. It's not true Little League baseball to me. You've got these teams. They've highly recruited these players. They bring them in from all over the place. They're 6'1". The one kid today that led off the game with a home run, he's 6'1". He's as tall as I am.
Yeah, that's always been the case.
Yeah, he doesn't weigh
it's
as much
about
as me.
mismatches at that level. Yeah, it's look, they're having a lot of fun. One of my best friends in the world, Danny Accarino, is 1964 World Series champ, threw a no-hitter in the championship game. It's a wonderful thing. It's a great memory to have. But we all need to remember they're only 12 years old, and they've got a long way to go. But, for the kids from Staten Island, it's a great thrill. For their parents, it's an even bigger thrill, which is also something I'm a little bit worried about. But, the whole aspect of ESPN taking this and really turning it into a circus, I think, has some negative consequences, for me anyway.
Yeah. Watching the Little League, it's Little League, the Little League World Series. Watching the Little League World Series, though, I did notice something in the differences between the two. The World Game and specifically the Japanese and the South Koreans. The fundamentals. I mean, the fundamentals from those teams are phenomenal. The United States teams were okay, but not as well coached, I think, in the fundamentals at that level.
It's funny you should say that. More and more, I'm studying a lot of what the Asian countries do in baseball, how they train, and incorporating it into my own players, what I do with my own guys, especially guys in the Cape who are really, really good players and who are capable of picking up on things really quickly. The Asian game is far more centered on fundamentals and energy and getting things done in repetition. The American game is far more based on brute strength and trying to hit the ball as far as you can and trying to throw the ball as hard as you can. And that tends to alienate part of the population because if you don't have size and brawn, you're not going to do either one of those things. But the Asian game is really fascinating to watch, and you're absolutely right. Those kids are really schooled in the fundamentals, and they're far and away above the average American kid.
Yeah, I was watching a video the other day on YouTube. It popped up. It was a Japanese highlight of how they won the game, and they won the game on a walk-off suicide squeeze. They were losing by 1 run. The score was 2-1 with a man on second and third. And what they did was they sent both runners from second and third. The guy laid down a suicide squeeze right down the third base line. The catcher picked it up, spun through to first base, and the guy that took off from second base never stopped.
I love it.
Scored the winning run. It was amazing. I was like, wow, you'll never see that in an American game ever.
Well, I believe the hardest thing to do in baseball is to throw the ball in a hurry, in a panic. You only get one opportunity to do it, and you got to make a perfect throw. So the litmus test for me is if it's going to be a difficult throw, all things being equal, push the envelope and go.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard in the heat of the moment to take that ball, as you know, as well as anybody, and make a perfect throw. One bounce throw to the plate or a throw to second base or a throw to third base, especially with the game on the line. We've seen it time and time again, and that's a great, great way to win a ball game.
Yeah, it is. And when I was in the minor leagues, I had a coach, Jose Cruz, was fantastic coach. Very funny guy, but knew a ton about the game. And he would always walk out into the dugout before every game, and this is what he would say. And I'm gonna edit myself here because
I'm sure you will need to
try to keep it clean. But he would walk out into the dugout every game and go, "You know what, guys? A bunt f's everything up."
Yep.
And I was like, you know what? He's absolutely right. Because how many times do you see, boom, you put a bunt down, they throw it down the right field line, the merry-go-round starts. Then all of a sudden the defense is flustered, the pitcher is flustered, and boom, you score 3 or 4 runs because of a bunt. And you don't see that in the major league game today, rarely at all.
No, it's a great principle overall. Be the actor rather than the reactor. It's much harder to be the reactor. You want to initiate the action. And if you're initiating the action and you're relentless, I think that's one of the secrets that, Alex Cora has put into that Red Sox ball club. They're running when everybody else is trotting, and they're sprinting when everyone else is running. And they're a real hard team to keep up with, and they are relentless, and they enjoy that brand of baseball. And I think that's why they're a favorite to win the World Series.
Yeah. Hey, Chris Gresham from North Carolina just joined. He's a guy that I caught with. Actually, he's going to be contributing here on Pro Prep Baseball. I'm going to be talking to him soon, but he's going to be putting some stuff up. He was a catcher in his day, excellent coach, and he's going to come on and give us a lot of his catching expertise. But he's
so we need that because there is a serious drought at that position.
Oh my God!
There are just not a lot of catchers anywhere. I don't know. I could try to theorize why, but the catching position really is lacking. And I try to tell every parent, if your kid's right-handed and he's 10, 11 years old, make him a catcher because it's the one position that nobody tells you you're too small or you're too slow. If you can get behind that plate and catch, you are a very, very valuable player.
Yeah, and that's the hardest thing at the youth level, to find good catchers. And if you don't have a good one, you're in trouble.
Well, it's a craft position. Yeah. It takes a lot of time. It's the one position, in my opinion, that requires the most skill and the most work. And it's not a lot of fun to get back there and put a lot of equipment on a 95-degree day. So you really have to enjoy that position.
Yeah, and a lot of kids out there don't want to do it. They just don't. They'd rather
Well,
play.
I tell parents, there are 30 guys in the major leagues who probably couldn't play in Double A if they weren't catchers,
Yeah.
but they can catch.
We just had a question from Andy Diorio. Do you think bunting will come back into the game because of shifts and the influx of statistical analysis? And I'm going to say no. I really.
Okay, next question.
Yes, next question. I really don't think so. I mean, I've seen one person do it, and Robinson Cano against the Red Sox when he was still with the Yankees. They put a shift on him, and he bunted down the left field line and hit a double. I don't understand why more guys don't do that, because they're so overshifted. All you got to do is basically just slap the ball down the third baseline. You're running for, you're standing up at second base. I don't understand.
I think the shift is as much a response to the way hitters want to hit nowadays. Everybody wants to do damage on the ball in, pull it, and hit it far. Mm-hmm. That's really been, for 20 years. That's what kids have been taught. So now we're seeing the price we're paying for that kind of instruction. Hitting the ball the other way. Guys like Pete Rose would have no chance in the game today. Carew and Tony Gwynn. They're like. They're dinosaurs, for God's sakes. I mean, we're paying $20 million to guys like Chris Davis to hit 150, and because he can hit 35 home runs. So the shift is really just a response to players' unwillingness to use the whole field and go foul line to foul line, which I always thought is the best way to hit, because you're going to hit for high average, you're going to drive in a lot of runs. But right now, I don't think that that's on the horizon, but everything is cyclical. You just never know. Nothing's forever, and hopefully cooler heads will prevail and guys will start using the whole field.
That would be nice, because to be honest, Tommy, I don't see what the shift has actually stopped or prevented from happening, other than actually being able to turn a double play when you should turn a double play. I mean, it's ridiculous. It drives me insane that all of a sudden there's a ball hit and you're like, oh, that's a double play, and then it's not, because guys are all wonky out of position. I don't know, what the thought process is there. And then they can't turn a double play, and then you got a third baseman at second base trying to turn a double play, and he throws the ball away. I don't know. I just think that what has it really stopped? So let me unconnect and reconnect Tommy Weber. It looks like he froze again. There he is. Yeah, I got you back. There you go. I got you back. Yeah, you dropped out for a second right there, and I was just talking about how the shift. What has it really stopped though? Guys still hit 30 home runs. Guys still drive in 100 runs. I'm not.
I don't know, but I know this. If I were playing shortstop, I know I'd be running into people all day. Don't you think you'd be running into people? They play awfully close together. I don't know how they communicate as to who's going to take what ball. And
exactly, I've seen that happen. Like two guys go for a ball, and one of them could have had it, but they stop and it goes through because they don't know who's going to get to it. I've seen that many times. So, and
a lot of pitchers are starting to voice their opinion about it, that they don't like it because they feel like they're getting beat a couple of times and they make good pitches. Guy hits a little flare into left field where the shortstop would have been there and there's nobody there. So I think it's like everything else. I think it's fluid. I think you could see a return, but it's going to have to be out of necessity and desperation.
Sure. Andy Diora just asked, do you think that Major League Baseball should do something to prevent it or put limitations on it? And what should happen is hitters should go up there and actually, if you're going to go into a shift, then put a bunt down. Try to hit the ball the opposite way. Use the whole field instead of just half the field or a third of the field. Maybe that would stop the shift. If you want to put a shift on, that's fine. But, it's just, to me, it just seems like hitters are not taking advantage of what they're given. And they're just trying to bulldoze through what's out there. Right.
I think what's his name used to Teixeira. I'm supposed to hit over the shift. Really? Yeah. Well, you could try that, man. You're going to hit like 230, which is what wound up happening. But I don't know. It's just like hit and run. You got to hit the ball to the right side. I don't see why guys can't more often get the ball the other way, swing inside out, and that will nullify the shift. That'll keep guys honest.
It would. absolutely keep guys honest. But I, like you said, and we keep saying, I just don't understand why hitters go up there and they try to bulldoze through it. But what you're seeing in baseball, the game, you're seeing strikeouts go up, batting averages go down, and it's just a different kind of a game. It's not,
Yeah, there's not a lot of action in baseball to begin with, and there's a lot less action when all you do is hit home runs and strike out. And baseball better be entertainment, otherwise nobody's going to watch. And there is one conversation that I must say I've never heard before that I'm hearing now in the 21st century in 2018, and that is how people are saying, I don't watch baseball anymore. I've heard for years guys make too much money. I've heard for years all sorts of complaints about the game, but I've never heard people say, I don't watch anymore. And I'm hearing that now. And if I were Rob Manfred and if I were the franchises, that would concern me.
Yeah, I think, too, that it's become such a highlight-driven, it's become such a highlight-driven sport. Like, you can just go to watch MLB Network and just watch the highlights. So you don't watch a game. You don't sit with the game on in the background anymore when you're doing something, playing cards or whatever. It just doesn't happen in the summertime. I can't remember the last time I sat down, played cards with my family or anybody else, and listened to a game. I just don't remember doing that in a long time. I did it when I was young. I did it when I was in my teens and in my 20s and even into my 30s, but I haven't done it in a long time.
Yeah, I think the game has become a lot of instances as opposed to an entire game. The game is now seen in measures, in small bites, rather than in its entire context. So players never learn context because they see everything out of context. The reason why you watch the whole game is that something that happened in the third inning might actually impact something that's going to happen in the eighth inning. You may look back and say, hey, that double play didn't turn, that was a big play, or you knew the game was going to turn in a certain instance, which is when you can only get that feel by watching a lot of entire games. Otherwise, you're walking in on a concert and hearing, three measures, and that's how you experience the song.
Yeah.
And I noticed that with elite players and young players, the game is now a bunch of small instances.
Yeah, I can't get my son to sit and watch baseball with me for more than 5 minutes. He watches it, boom, and then he's just like, all right, can I go play Fortnite? Can I go? Has no interest in sitting there watching a game at all. So, and if that's the case, and the next generation coming up that's their interest in playing or watching baseball, the sport is going to go away fast.
No, nothing's forever. You have to remember that. So, and those of us who think, someone once said the world is littered by the ashes of empires who thought they were forever.
Yeah.
And baseball, in its arrogance, I think, assumes the same thing. Stranger things have happened, and people stop watching baseball en masse. And if I were baseball, I'd want to get ahead of this rather than be chasing it.
Yeah, I just see dwindling numbers. I see a lot of empty seats when I watch games. I see these free ticket things all the time, especially down here in Baltimore because the team's not doing well. But still, it's sad to see. When you had Cal Ripken playing, that stadium was full every game. And they weren't even that great then. They didn't win, they weren't like the Yankees in the 90s, in the late 90s, who were constantly in the playoffs. I mean, they made it once or twice, but they weren't a dynasty by any stretch. And yet, that stadium was full. Now, nothing. They can't even give tickets away.
Well, you have epic players like Mike Trout who really aren't an attraction. That's the first time in baseball history that players of that magnitude really aren't the face of the game. So I think the game has some issues it needs to address. It needs to be honest with itself, take a hard look in the mirror and see what it is that they did to contribute to this and try to amend it.
Yeah. So did you we're going to move on right here. I'm going to take it to another level. Did you see that video, Altuve with that drop pop-up turned into a double play? Did you see that?
I did.
All right, hold on a second. I'm going to play it right here for the folks at home. The one person watching, Andy. I'm going to play it for you, Andy. Get ready. Here it comes. Boom. There's the pop-up. He backs up. And he lets it drop. And he throws to first. And they get the guy in a rundown. And you're out, buddy. All right, so double play. But check it out. Watch. You're going to see right here. Watch. They're going to show it again. Watch the guy running. Watch him running. And look, he didn't even run. And then he's like, oh, crap. Right? Too late. Too late, pal. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So, I mean, what do you think about that, Webbs? Did you lock up on me again? All right, hold on. I'll bring you back. Give me 1 second. There you are. So what do you think about that, Webbs? What do you think about that Altuve play?
What I saw on Twitter was a whole bunch of guys talking about how alert Altuve is. And, of course, he's a great player and he is alert. But, you know, the bar must be really low for alertness if that's a play where you're telling me you have to be alert to make that play. The play is only made because the runner decides to hold his bat, trot, and then when he sees the ball drop, all of a sudden he realizes he's going to get shown up, and he runs hard to first base. That is something we see far too much of in the game today. This is not an old school guy. I like the modern game. I like the modern player. But the reality is we're way too forgiving about guys watching the ball and not running hard. You got 4 at-bats. You got to run hard 4 times because you just never know. That's why you don't have any triples. You have no triples, well, for 2 reasons. Number one, ballparks are tiny. And number two, when a guy hits the ball off the center field wall, he's watching to see if it's a home run first, and he's basically deciding, he's conceding that he's only going to get 2 bases. That's why, and I'll go back to them, and, you know, begrudgingly, I'm a Yankee guy, but I got to give a lot of credit to the Red Sox because they're running when everybody else is trotting, and that doesn't happen under Alex Cora.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? It didn't happen when I played either, because if I didn't run on that play, guess what? I ain't playing the next game. And I get it with the salaries and everything, and you got to play your stars. But that's unacceptable, in my opinion. You know, if I'm managing a team and you do that, we're going to have a conversation, man to man, in the office after the game. And if you don't like it, I don't care.
Well, right? I appreciate that, and I agree, except Brett Gardner's been diving into first base on ground balls for 10 years, and nobody said anything to him. Somebody should have told him this 10 years ago, Brett, stop diving into first base. You don't get there any faster. But he still does it. So those conversations are few and far between at the major league level. Managers tiptoe around the stars, and they tiptoe around just about everybody else, and they're less managers than they ever were. They're marching orders from the front office more and more, and they're tiptoeing around guys, and they're not going to have these difficult conversations that you need to have. But when a guy comes along that does have those conversations, his team usually excels.
Yeah, you have a lot of these yes guys out there now, and a prime example is Gabe Kapler in Philadelphia. I hate to say it, he is a yes man. You know, he's just listening to what he's being told to do for the most part, because there are some players on that team that do not hustle. They do not, you know, they're playing, I don't know what kind of game they're playing. They hit the ball and, you know, they start walking back to the dugout. They don't even run to first base because they think they're out. It's ridiculous.
Well, if you notice, the new fashion is when you strike 3, catcher drops the 3rd strike, now guys just walk into the dugout.
Yeah, there's no – did the rules change suddenly for the game?
I don't think they did. I don't think so. How do you know the catcher's not going to throw it into right field? Make them throw the ball. Force them to make every out. That's what your job is. Your job is to force them to make 27 outs, however you can.
Exactly. So I don't know. I think the state of the game at that level is suspect at best. You know, they're losing fans. They're going to bleed out soon, if you ask me. I think they're just going to hit rock bottom. But then again, you know, things cycle. So there's a cycle to things. So maybe it'll bounce back. I don't know. You remember the last cycle that we were down? It was down, and what happened? You had the McGuire-Sosa thing that kind of brought back after the strike. So, and
you also had the beginning of the Yankee dynasty. I mean, that was 96, 97, 98 with it. You know, when a New York team especially when the Yankees, that tends to tug baseball along with it. You need your big markets to be successful. When that happens, usually the rest of the game benefits from that as well.
Yeah. We had Andy Diorio just came on and said, players need rest now, so when they think they're out, why should they hustle? out of the box. There's too much money at stake. What if they pull a hammy? You know what I'm saying?
How many hammy? Who's pulling a hammy by running as soon as you hit the ball? I'm not saying that you don't have to sprint as if you're in the Olympics, but you know what? You got to cover 90 feet. That's all you got to do. Look, we all know there's running. I don't want my guys hustling, because to me, hustle is just so that somebody notices what you're doing.
Yeah.
But the reality is, we all know you could go at 65, 70%. I get it. It's a long season. I don't want guys busting it every single time. But if that guy just runs, Altuve doesn't make the double play. You do have to run. If you pull a hammy running hard enough to make Altuve catch that ball, then you need to get some,
new legs,
some conditioning.
Yeah. You're out of shape, pal.
The game's not for you.
Yeah, you better rethink playing sports, because that's insane. All right. So, what else you got this week, man? Anything, Webbs? Anything exciting?
I got my T-shirt on. I got to plug
All right,
my
tell
guys,
me.
right?
Tell me what's going on. Hold on. I'm going to bring you up larger so it's bigger in the screen. All right, man. Go ahead.
Oh, my God. My head gets exponentially bigger.
It does.
I didn't realize that. Nobody's ever told me anything about my head.
Yeah, but go ahead, man. Talk about your T-shirt.
So this is for Mom. So Hunter Bishop, who was our center fielder last season, 2017 in the Cape, MVP of the playoffs on our championship run, freshman at Arizona State University. This year he was with us as well in the Cape. He and his brother, Braden, who started this movement, their mom was diagnosed about 7 years ago with the early onset of Alzheimer's. Braden has just been amazing. He's one of the top prospects in the Seattle Mariner organization, and he has made it his cause to raise awareness for Alzheimer's as they battle this terrible disease. My wife, whose dad, George, passed away a year and a half ago, had Alzheimer's as well, so it's a cause that's really close to my heart. We all wear these great bracelets, these Rivet Revolution bracelets. You could get them online at Rivet Revolutions. You could just visit for Mom, and words of support, contributions, whatever you can do just to say hey to a family that's really going through a tough time right now. And Hunter knows that he is never, ever far from our thoughts and prayers. So I wanted to make sure I represented for my guy.
Awesome. That's awesome. Thank you, Tommy. What we'll do is we'll put a link in the comments in this feed to go to that link, and they can make a contribution if they want to. All the fans out there watching. So I'm hoping that we build a fan base and we're able to grow every week, get more people each week. I see Andy's on today, so we've got one. That's more than none, which is fantastic.
Every long journey begins with the first step.
Exactly. So this is fantastic. Hey, any tips? You got any tips out there for what? You froze up on me again. All right, hold on. One more time. I'll bring you back in. I'm going to disconnect. Reconnect. All right, you're there. I got you.
I got good hands. I'm quick with this.
I know. So you froze up a little bit. But do you have any tips for a young player, youth player, something that they should work on? I actually, right before I came over here tonight, I was over at, we had our baseball party, the season-ending party. I hand out the participation trophies.
Oh, Christ.
And, yeah. It is what it is. You gotta give that stuff out. No, and I don't mind giving out. You were on the team for the season. You put your time in. Your folks paid their money. Here's your trophy for the season. What I don't like is, and this is the one thing that I don't like, is that you can't single kids out who excelled. Like
God forbid. No, it makes everybody else feel bad.
Yeah, you can't give away a Defensive Player of the Year award. You can't give out the MVP award. You can't give out Pitcher of the Year award. You can't do any of that. And you know what? In the real world, it happens. So why can't we do that? Some kids did better. Shouldn't they be rewarded for doing better?
Do you really want my answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, it's because the players would be fine with it. Kids are remarkably resilient. They really are. They could care less.
Yeah.
The parents would be suicidal. They really would. The parents would be beside themselves because they're far too involved. It's far too important to parents and to adults. And this, in my opinion, is a scourge that we're experiencing right now in baseball. Just way too organized, way too much adult involvement, not enough free play, not enough allowing kids to kind of, make up their own teams and choose up sides and have an argument and offend one another. They'd get over it. The problem is parents can't get over it because it's way too important to them. That's my take.
I see it every time I go out to coach.
I'm sure you do.
It's practice or whether it's a game, and it's absolutely ridiculous. I've actually had parents calling pitches from the stands.
Yeah.
That's a little bit too much involvement there, pal. And I had to go talk to the guy after and look, if you want to coach, that's all well and good. I got coaching. I need help. Right?
He needs help. Yeah. He needs way more help than you do.
I know. I need help coaching these kids. But if you want to, then be out here. Don't.
The funny thing is, everything we know about development tells us that kids learn best when they're left to learn for themselves, when they own what they do. And yet we keep, doing everything we can. We conspire against them ever owning what they do because we think we know better. Guess what? We don't. They do. They'll get it. Believe me, they'll get it. They'll get it a lot quicker, a lot faster, and a lot more permanently if you let them do it on their own. And
here's the thing, too, is a lot of parents, and my kid doesn't listen to me at all.
I don't blame him.
He doesn't. When I'm out there and I tell him, this is the way you need to feel, this is the way you need, this is how you do it.
Right. What do you know?
Yeah, what do you know? But if one of the other coaches tells him, it's gold.
Right. There you go.
So if parents understood that concept, just because they're not going to listen to you anyway, mom and dad. They're going to listen to the coach before they listen to you, but then you're in the car on the way home telling them your coach doesn't know anything. What the heck's he know? Oh, you didn't get 4 at-bats. Well, Joey got 3. You should have gotten more at-bats than Joey. Well, it's totally ridiculous.
Have them read my book.
You've written a book?
Yeah, Your Kid Sucks.
Oh.
That's the name of They really should read Mike Matheny's book. It should be mandatory reading for every parent, player, anybody involved should really read Mike's book. It's great. It really is. It could be a roadmap for people to have some peace with the game and be okay with it and not be like a raving lunatic every single time your kid makes out, running from one travel team to the next, from one instructor to the next. If you read Mike's book, I really think, if I had a youth team, every parent would have to read that book.
I'll tell you, man, it's insane. And then, I'm running this fall team right now, and I put the stuff out weeks ago about it's time to sign up. I need you to sign up. I only have a certain amount of spots, right? Now, right before the season starts, what do you think I'm getting now? I'm getting all these emails from parents saying, are there still spots? Oh, because they didn't want to have to sign up and practice.
Right.
Parents
hate practice.
Yeah. I'm like, no, the spots are full. But no buts. I'm not carrying more than 13 guys. I got enough. I can't, 13
How old
guys
are your guys? How old is this?
It's a 13 U.
That's old enough. Those kids are old enough to be self-reliant, to show up and have their parents leave and do their thing and have their parents come back. I really do believe it'd be great for kids if you have no parents at practice and parents don't come to every game. I don't think it's good to have these fixtures where it becomes part of their social circle, and I just don't think that's very good for kids.
No, my parents never came to my games.
Well, I was just going to say, you among them, if I took all my best players that I've had in the 30, however many years I've been doing this, coaching and managing, the one common denominator is I didn't know their parents weren't that present. All the players, all the guys that were relatively, Andy Diorio, John White, all these guys that I've had the pleasure of coaching since then, who were great players. I didn't really get to know their parents weren't around all the time.
No, and if they could, they would come on a weekend.
Right.
But during the week, they were working.
Right. They had better things to do. They had more important things to do.
They couldn't come to the games.
Right, which was good. That was a good thing. Believe me, it really was. It's not a coincidence that all you guys were so good and your parents weren't on top of you 24 hours a day. It's not a coincidence.
My dad built a baseball field for us in the backyard, and that was it.
Which is a lot.
Yeah, he said, go have at it. You know, I'm working all day. When I get home at night, I'm tired. You know, I might cut the grass. I might do this. You know, but I'm not coming out there with you guys. You guys can just do. Occasionally he would, but very rarely would he come out and do anything.
It's a hard sell, as you know, man. It's a hard sell.
I can't convince my son to go outside and play with his friends and play baseball.
Yeah,
I can't do it. My wife comes home. You should go outside and play baseball with your son. I'm like, hun, he can go out and do it himself. He has friends. You know, and not to say that I don't want to, because I do want to. I want to spend time with my kid, but you know, he can also do that by himself.
It's appropriate for him to have relationships with people other than his parents.
Other than
it's
me.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. It is okay, but not
Usually
not according
that's
to
how
my
it works.
wife. Not according to my wife.
No.
Hey, Webbs, did you see the glasses I got?
Let me see.
Yeah, check them out. Can you see them?
Sweet.
Yeah, right. You know why? You know why I wore them? Because I'm trying to, you know, I got to keep up to you. Because, you know, I got to make myself at least feel smart by wearing glasses.
God. If you set the bar this low, you got to get out more.
I do. I do.
Although I must say this, I have to commend you, man. You got after it and got a whole new body. You look good. Good job.
Yeah, I've been working. You know, I've been back drinking too much beer lately, but you know, all I gotta do is stop doing that. I'll be all right.
Good for you, man. That takes a lot. It's not easy at this stage of the game, as you know. It's hard.
Oh.
You got your ass kicked by your trainer, I'm sure.
Yeah, every time I go to the gym, it's insane.
Don't you hate that guy?
No, actually, he's a nice guy.
But you hate him while you're doing it.
Yes, I do. While I'm doing it, I hate him. But you know, after it's over, I thank him because he pushes me to a level I wouldn't push myself anymore.
Good for you.
You know, there was a point after I finished playing, I was just like, you know what? That's you know, I'm going to take 10 years off. And I think I did.
You did. I was there. You did.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, you know what? I worked out for a good portion of the last 15 years.
That's not how it works, though. That's not how it works.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take some time off. Well, fortunately for me, I owned a gym part of that time, so I was still doing some stuff. But, yeah, there was a period there for a good 5-6 years where I didn't do anything. I was just like, whatever, screw it. And then I got the dad bod, and, you know, oh well.
Well, the glasses do make you look professorial.
If only it paid off. Andy Diorio just said LOL in capital letters.
That could have a lot of meanings.
Yes, it could have. Yeah, unfortunately for the comments tonight, we would have had a stream of them, but they come up and then they disappear. And
we'll work on that.
Yeah, I think there's a setting inside the comment app that I need to click to make sure that they stay up. And we'll be able to reference back to the comments as we go. But anyway, Tommy, we've been on for 45 minutes, and I think that's enough for our first time.
Quick.
It was quick. It goes really fast. But I just want to thank the people who joined us. We had a few. Andy and Carolyn came on, and hopefully we can build this.
She's hot. Carolyn's hot.
I wasn't going to say anything.
I'm going to try to make out with her now.
Okay, you do what you got to do. I think I'm just going to go hide in the guest bedroom or something for my wife. Because once I'm done here, she's going to tell me, you got to do this,
yeah,
and
I'm
this.
sure she is. I'm sure she is.
So it was good talking about things. Next week, we'll get into more baseball-related issues, whether it's the major league level, whether it's collegiate level, whether it's high school, whatever you want to talk about. If you have a drill you want to talk about, you know, bring that.
We got a lot of great stuff. A lot of great stuff ahead of us.
Yep, and we've got videos and everything that we're going to be showing during the show. Tommy sent me a whole lot of stuff that I need to go through and look at and see what we can use in the show, and we'll play it during the show and we'll discuss it.
Yeah, really cool stuff.
So Andy came on and said, great first show. Well, thank you, Andy, for being here with us, and hopefully you'll come back next week. We can get Croce on here. We can get a lot of the guys from Wagner back on here
Absolutely.
And do some baseball talk.
Yep.
So that's what it's about. It's fun. I love baseball. I've always loved the game. I'm going to love it till the day I die. And it's just what I love to do, and I love to talk about it. So.
And I don't think we alienated anybody tonight. So is the show a failure because we didn't alienate anybody? Well, I guess it's young.
Yeah, it's young, and we really haven't had anybody come on with a comment that got us going.
I was actually thinking I do have some people specifically I would like to alienate. So.
Yes. There are some people that I would like to piss the hell off and tell them to go screw themselves. But yeah, I mean, we'll get into it next time. We've got lots to talk about. I love talking about the history of the game and not my history of the game. I mean, the history, like, Joe DiMaggio and Mickey Mantle and all those guys, and talking about that stuff and what the game was like back then. And, even in the 80s when I was a kid and through the 90s. And
Not enough of that. Not
anymore. But, hopefully we can turn that around. We'll
get to it.
Yeah, we'll start our own little revolution here and bring the game of baseball back to where it should be.
Let's go.
All right, let's do it. All right, man. Thank you for joining me, Tommy. Thank you for spending your time with me on a Sunday evening. Appreciate it. I love you. And,
love you too, man.
We will talk more next week. And, keep up the faith, man. Let's keep plugging along.
You got it, pal. Be well.
All right.
I'll talk to you.
All right. I'll see you.